Our final showcase presenter is an expert in emotional intelligence, focusing on creating psychologically safe workplaces that enhance team engagement, retention, and productivity. He emphasizes self leadership and effective communication to foster cultures where employees feel valued and motivated. With extensive experience as a business strategist, Chris helps leaders transform challenges into actionable solutions for lasting change. His keynote speeches align emotional intelligence with business strategies, improving employee well being and customer loyalty. As the author of Master Your Inner Critic and co author of Mastering the Art of Success, he promotes innovation, innovative leadership, and sustainable growth, hosting shows like Sustainable Success on Voice America. Please welcome Chris Salem.
Thank you so much, Marty, and a pleasure to be here. I wish I could have been here from the beginning. And yeah, let's get started here. And so, what I would like to ask everybody, when we look at where you are in your business, what would be the common core challenge that we all have? Ask yourself that. Now, of course, that could be different for different people or different business owners, depending upon where you are in the life cycle of your business. But one of the common core challenges is increasing revenue and profit. Now, many of you will say sales. Well, how if it's sales and you're just breaking even, you're not making money. You're just basically covering expenses. So usually the core common challenge in any business is increasing revenue and profit. Now, with that being said, is it because that we're not doing the certain things that are not allowing us to increase our revenue and profit? Well, see, what usually happens in reality is that challenge goes deeper than just that we're not making enough money or we're not making enough profit to raise our business valuation in our business. Those challenges could go as deep as, again, lack of processes in your business. But more importantly, the people. The people are not engaged. They don't trust you, or there's not enough rapport built enough where they're engaged. So retention is an issue. Burnout is an issue. Perhaps they're working long hours, or they're not, they're having issues at home. So there's an off balance with work-life harmony. Those are a lot of times the core reasons why we're not where we want to be. So what I'd like to share with you today is how we can look at building foundations from the individual level, you being the leader of your business, also at the people level, the people that are involved in your business. So even if you're a solopreneur, is the fact, are you, in this case, working with joint alliance partners or virtual assistants? It's going to come down to not only the systems and processes that you're using, but more importantly, the people that are indirectly and directly involved in your business. That's going to take you from here to here in your business. But like with anything, if we're going to make improvements in our business, we have to first acknowledge the challenge. See, challenges are a good thing because without them, we can't learn to find where the opportunities that are embedded in them to turn them now into results. And how can you achieve anything without embracing challenges? So challenges are a good thing. So what I'm going to share with you is the importance of having a foundation, what we call the EQ advantage in business. And the EQ advantage starts with you, the leader. And what we mean by that is you have to ask yourself each and every day, what are you operating from inside, from that voice that speaks to you? Is it the voice of your inner critic, your inner champion, or a combination of both? Perhaps it's both, but be honest and transparent with yourself. Which one are you listening to the most? Because if we're listening more to our inner critic, we're more likely to react to situations and people. And would it be safe to say that most of the things that we work on day to day, week to week, month to month, every quarter, on an annual basis, is because we're interacting with people, whether for our own people, joint alliance partners, could be virtual assistants, and your customers. And there's situations always happening around us. Many times, in this case, most of them beyond your control. I'd like to challenge you as leaders to think about, instead of now getting caught up with the word expectations, think about where we could start learning from our intentions. See, we can't control our expectations. Why? Because they are tied to outcomes to other people and situations. So let me and ask yourself: can you control other people in situations? Well, you may control maybe certain little aspects. You can put up boundaries that you can not be around certain people, or limit your time around certain people or certain situations, but you can't control 100%. Let me share a story with you to kind of illustrate this point. So let's look at the challenge in the current situation at the time. There was a business owner operating just a small mom and pop business with 10 employees. And he had been stagnant in his revenue for about 10 years. And he tried everything he could, bought all these different courses and invested in certain types of different processes, and yet was still getting the same results. Why was he getting the same results? Because he was so caught up in the do and the have, meaning that he was looking to do things differently to have different and better results. See, the reality was he had no foundation. And that starts with how we think. How we think determines how we be. How we be determines what we become. What we become determines how we do things differently. And how we do things differently determines how we get different and better results. See, he was operating from his inner critic, and he came across him to other people in a very aggressive way. He demanded a lot from his people. He never took the time to build rapport with them, got to know what was important to them. He just would tell people what to do and expected that they live up to a certain level that was going to move his business forward. So you can see right now, what was really going on inside of him was that he wasn't sure of himself. He had insecurities. He was operating from that inner critic, and he was deflecting this in a bravado way onto his employees that were not engaging them and bringing him towards them, but disengaging them, and why he was losing people every year or two and having to replace them, where he saw his onboarding costs soar. Another challenge. So we have to now learn how to think differently. And one of the things that he realized when he finally, came to terms that things were not working his way, he realized that maybe I have to change the way I think. And when he was able to change the way he thinks from operating from intentions rather than expectations, well, things began to change. He began to become across as more assertive, not passive or aggressive in his communication, meaning that he was specific, clear, and concise. He came across in a human way that, hey, I'm like you. I make mistakes. I know what I'm good at. I know what I'm not good at. And as he began to do that, he became more, trustworthy. People began to, respect him more. He began to ask more questions to what was important to them. What were their challenges that could be better, and what were the results that they seek and didn't have? And as a result of that, he began to realize that not everybody was there just to do the bare minimum, just to get by, to get their paycheck, because that's what, in essence, what they were doing. But he realized he didn't have to necessarily just give them a raise to get more out of them. It was a simple thank you, an acknowledgement that you value their role and duties and how you're helping him, the team, and the customers realize what's important to them. Little things like that got more people and more engaged. And he realized when he was able now to control his communication, to be assertive rather than aggressive, he began to align that with his behavior. So his behavior didn't contradict what he was saying. It was in alignment. It was assertive, just like that. So he could control his communication, his behavior, and he realized that challenges, that everything that he went through were a good thing, instead of resisting them or deflecting them onto other people, or worse yet, to his customers. As a result, as he began to see the challenges for what it is, not what he think it should be, he was open to new ideas or other ideas from his team. This brought more engagement, people that wanted to be part of the solution. And as a result of that, he began to see things happening for him, not to him. So he changed the victim, the excuse mentality to now seeing all these challenges and issues happening for him to move his business forward. Instead of now reacting to people in situations beyond his control, he focused again on his intentions, what he could control, which I'm explaining to you right now: communication, behavior, attitude, now his emotions. Even if he had a negative emotion, he can now respond. He could now respond from a positive emotion while he was dealing with the negative emotion and not react from it. And then finally, it was the action that he took, focused on the laser focused on the priorities that truly matter. When he became now an example on a daily basis and became more resourceful, people became less dependent on him, became now more intrigued to step up in their role and duties. And he helped them through his example and his resourcefulness to do for themselves. This helped people to step up, to increase the engagement, to increase the customer experience. They saw more cross sales, upsells. They increased more from those sales, more revenue, and better yet, were able to increase their profit, thus raising their business valuation. Now, there's a lot more to tell here that I could go on, but I ask you, what are you going to do differently to think from intentions over expectations, to be, to become, and do, and have different and better results? If you would like to find out more information where you are with an assessment and to get some insights on a direction that you can take to start making a difference in your business, reach out to the link that I just provided, and let's have that conversation. And I want to thank everybody here at Achieve for the opportunity to serve. Thank you.